Hi everyone, welcome back. It's Moa, aka Swedish Whiskey Girl, and today we're back with another Aberfeldy. I don't know if there's many Aberfeldys that I haven't reviewed, but I'm very excited about this one. So yesterday when I'm recording this, I took part in a tasting with Stephanie McLeod, the master blender for Dewars, and also Gary Ross, their new brand ambassador, you could say. I mean, he's been working for the company for ages, but he's recently taking over as brand home ambassador, I think. And of course, Matthew Gordiner has taken over as global brand ambassador. So congrats to both of you. I love listening into your tasting, so I'm sure you'll do a great job. And thanks, of course, to Alex for sending me this sample and letting me take part in the tasting. I'm, of course, quite a big fan of Aberfeldy. I've been to the distillery and the 16 is my favourite so far. I of course did this long comparison video for Aberfeldy, so if you're curious about that one or if you're looking for a specific Aberfeldy and flavour wise, check that one out because I'm comparing the 12 to the 40, so it's quite a wide variety. I also have my dear little 16 here as well so that I can compare my favourites and see if this might be my new favourite. So this whiskey's been matured for 18 years in a combination of refill casks, and then it's been finished for about 4 to 5 months in red wine, so French red wine from Pauillac, and it is bottled at 43%. I mean, sounds good, but let's have a little look. I had a sneaky wee preview taste to the tasting yesterday, and I'm very intrigued to compare it to the 16 later on. But let's have a taste. Or we'll start by having a nose, of course. I'm almost jumping ahead. And before I forget, I'm gonna try and, if I forget, please let me know. Because I want to do something that you guys will want to watch, and I know it's been requested that I tell you the retail price, and I keep forgetting, but this one retails at £95 off of Dewars' website. It's a limited edition, so when it's gone, it's gone. But I think it's coming out to a few markets soon. But yeah, let's have a look on the nose. A little bit sweet and dark, and it's a bit like strawberry jam, I would say. Strawberry, almost like a mixture between maybe strawberry and blackcurrant jam. Because it does have a sweetness, but it's quite a dark, misty kind of, I'll coming back to this note, the fairy tale kind of sweetness. Because it's like, yeah, just imagine like a misty forest and there's raspberries and blackcurrants there. And quite sweet and quite, I want to say dense. But they're not that dense, they're quite airy, which is why I think they make me think of fairy tales, because fairy tales usually don't feel this kind of dark and dense, but quite like light, but with darker elements, if that makes any sense. That might be my weirdest tasting note so far. And I said something smelled a bit like dog food in a good way the other day, so here we go. It's a little bit almondy almost, like a little bit nutty. It's a lovely nose. It's a little bit sweet, a little bit fruity, a little bit nutty, but they're all very soft aromas. This is another one of those that if I could have this as a perfume, I would. It reminds me a little bit, and this is also going to be a little bit niche, like the dark blue Britney Spears perfume, because that's made as a kind of an evening perfume. It's quite fruity, it's marketed towards younger girls, and it's a little bit, I think it's called something fairy tale, like fairy tale darkness or whatever. It's yeah, it reminds me of that. And also something floral that is quite sweet, like a really sweet floral note. I'm not the best with my flowers and botanics. What could that be? What's a sweet flower? Maybe you're better at this than me. Tell me what a sweet flower that is a little bit darker and quite, maybe often used in perfumes. Okay, now I can't wait anymore. Let's have a taste. Sláinte. I think it a lot, and I thought this on the nose as well, definitely has an Aberfeldy character. This almost like soft honey note. And on the palate I think it comes out even more. It's almost this kind of marzipan-y notes, but in this one it's more like it's a berry flavoured marzipan. Because it does have a touch of that, like this, the sweetness is there, but it's like a nutty sweetness. So that kind of sweetness from the almonds, and then you get a little bit of icing sugar and you like mix it together and you get this marzipan that also lingers in your mouth for quite a while. And I love marzipan, so maybe that's why I like Aberfeldy. It's a little bit more strawberry on the palate than blackcurrant, I would say, but almost more a little bit more blackberry. I'm very, very protective of blackcurrant as a tasting note because it's one of my absolute favourite flavours in the world. And it has a very specific character, so I'm a little bit protective of it. And I do think it's more blackcurrant on the nose because it does have a fresher note to it. But on the palate, it's more almost like a French blackberry tart, maybe? Because it's very elegant. It's nice whiskey. I am definitely enjoying this a lot, and I think if you like Aberfeldy and you want a little bit of a darker berry experience, then you would like this. On the first sip it had more spice, but now it's calmed down a bit. There's still a lovely oakiness there, and I do not know how they, like what is, it's a soft kind of alive woodiness that I also found on the 40. And after 40 years, sometimes some whiskies go a little bit dull, but Stephanie definitely knows what she's doing and is choosing casks, and this is just, yeah, very kind of, if a velvet pillow was oak. That's exactly how I see it in my head, but I don't know if that makes sense. And this is kind of a, now I saw myself and I was going to say this, but it's almost like a quite bright purple, if we're back to colours. I haven't described whiskies as colours in a while, so let's do that. But I'm going to pour a little dram of D16 and we're going to compare. And the 16 of course sits at 40%, so it's 3% lower. Let's have a little nose. Have a little comparison. I think the difference when you have them next to each other is a little bit more significant because you definitely get the red wine on the Pouillac. This Aberfeldy feels more like apple pie a bit. A little bit more like a springtime fruitiness to it. Like it's more sunny and almost a bit orangey as well, which I don't get on this one. Oh, it's such a nice whiskey. Yeah, if you're comparing to this, it almost has like an orange note to it. Orange honey, and it's definitely that Aberfeldy character. And that kind of marzipan is still there. Let's have a sip to compare. Yeah, it's darker, murkier, I would say. It's like a murkier version of the 16. And because it's a little bit more murky, the oak is coming up a little bit more, and this kind of fresh, fruity sweetness that you have on the 16, it's kind of subdued a bit, and which allows for those berry notes to come out. I was almost ready to say that the 18 is my new favourite. But then I had another sip of the 16 and I just loved that whiskey. Really nice. I think this might be my second favourite. I mean, the 16 will take place number 1, but the 18 is taking number 2, I think. Because I think in the way I perceive all of the Aberfeldies when I compare them all next to each other, is that the 16 is so far ahead of everything else because I just love it. But I think this one is so close to being flavours that I really, really enjoy, and I think it's a great whiskey. Especially if you like the Aberfeldy character and that murkiness. But it's not winning over the 16 yet, which is good, because I mean, I don't really want to have limited editions as my favourites because that means I can't get a hold of them. Yeah, so I'll stick to my 16 for now, and then we'll see what other things Aberfeldy will bring out in the future. But I would of course love to hear your thoughts. Have you managed to try the Aberfeldy 18, or have you perhaps another whiskey that you really like that has been matured or partially matured or finished in red wine casks? I'm quite intrigued by that cask type at the moment, so I'd love to hear your recommendations. And of course, if you like what I'm doing here on YouTube and my other social channels, I'd be absolutely over the moon if you consider using my affiliate links the next time you're shopping with either Master Malt, the Whisky Exchange, or the Scotch Malt Whisky Society. All the information is of course in the description here below, as well as links to my website, my Patreon, my Teespring shop, and my Instagram if you're curious about that. And of course, as always, a massive thank you to my wonderful supporters on Patreon. You guys are amazing, and I really appreciate you want to continue to support me on my whiskey journey. But I hope you've all had an absolutely wonderful day. Sláinte Skål.